All right, I'm going to give you a quick summary of chapter 4 of the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. It's a book he wrote about his life. He wrote it by himself. So in the book, Frederick talks about the overseer. His name is Mr. Gore. The overseer on the plantation is kind of like the manager, making sure all the slaves and everything do their job and everything. He says Mr. Gore was a very cruel man. He often accused slaves of not working hard enough, not putting enough effort in, that type of thing. When he accused slaves, you weren't allowed to reason or give an explanation or anything like that. You could get whipped for that. He says that Mr. Gore never joked or laughed. He never had a minute to ever be nice to slaves. There was one instance he talked about where there was a slave who was refusing to work, and the slave ran into like a pond or some water that was around the plantation. Mr. Gore pulled out a shotgun and asked the slave to come out of the water 3 or 4 times. He then finally gave him a last warning and said, "If you don't come out this last warning, I'm just going to shoot you in the head." The slave didn't come out, and just as Mr. Gore said, he ended up shooting the slave in the head, killing him. When he went to explain this to the slave owner, he asked him why he did it. And Mr. Gore said, "Well, every once in a while, you have to do this to a slave to set a tone so that the other slaves will see it. And they'll understand that this is going to happen to them if they try to do the same thing. They'll get the same punishment." It's like a way of striking fear in slaves. In the county where Frederick was, he says killing a slave was not really treated like a crime. They didn't really get in trouble for it. He gave 3 different examples of slaves being killed, and nothing was done to the killer, basically, and they were never tried. One person was quoted as saying, "To kill a slave, it's a half a cent to kill a black man and half a cent to bury one." So that's basically what the chapter was about, chapter 4 of the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass.